monster! With God of War 2018 ending off with one of the biggest cliffhangers, here we are 4 years later with God of War Ragnarök. So God of War Ragnarök is actually a very easy game to platinum. If you platinum God of War 2018, you should have an idea on what Ragnarok's trophy list would offer, because the trophy list is pretty much identical, apart with a few things obviously. So speaking of God of War Ragnarok's trophy list, you can already see I obtained 18 out of the 36 trophies, which means I already finished the game, so do not worry, I will not spoil the big moments and the big highlights that the game actually had to offer, because this game actually was absolutely amazing. So instead of going down the trophy list as I do with most games when I finish the story and just trying to go for individual trophies and eventually obtaining the platinum trophy, with God of War I went down a different list, and these lists are basically the in-game checklist. And essentially what this in-game checklist looks like, if you open up the map on any realm, you can actually see a bunch of checklists on the side of the map with the amount of artifacts I found, lore I found, chests I opened in that area. And this is essentially how I went about platinuming this game. I just went to each of the 9 realms, and yes, all the 9 realms are now available in this game compared to the previous game where only a few of them were available. So each of the 9 realms have these lists. The first realm I did focus on was called Svartálfheim. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I always feel like I'm pronouncing it wrong. And this is one of the larger realms despite being the realm of the dwarves. And while I was there was 3 trophies that did trigger in this realm. All of them were side quests. 2 of them are available pretty much early on in the game, and the third one is available at the end of the game. So do not worry, I won't show you what they are. And once I completed all the side quests, I opened up all the chests, I found all the artifacts, I read all the lore. So in the long run, if I do that for all the realms, you can kind of see I basically would have found all the artifacts if I just go down the list anyway. So you can kind of see how I managed to do this. Once I was done with the realm of the dwarves, I went to Jötunheim. Even though it's the realm of the giants, this is actually quite a small realm to actually explore. And because it's small, it only had one thing, which was a flower. And this flower is a collectible, and there are 9 of them. There's a trophy called the florist, and all you have to do is basically find one flower in each of the 9 realms, and this is the first flower. I'm not sure if I actually recorded me picking up every single flower in each realm, but this is the flower that spawned in Jötunheim. So once I was done with the realm of the giants, I went to Alfheim, the realm of the elves. Now this realm did make an appearance in the previous game, but this time around it's a different side of Alfheim. So this realm is actually quite big, not as big as the realm of the dwarves, but it is quite large, where you actually need a sled to traverse the lands, because it's a very deserty type of environment, and there's a lot of collectibles, side quests, a lot of side bosses, which the side bosses we will get to for a trophy near the end. And there was a side quest which gave me a trophy, but other than that it was just about the chest, Odin's ravens, stuff like that. So to change things up a bit, I went to Muspelheim. So Muspelheim did feature in the previous game, but this time around it's pretty much the same, but it's slightly different. And the reason why I decided to change things up a bit, because Muspelheim is a very different realm compared to everything else, because yes, it has side quests and it has these collectibles, but the biggest reason is there is one Valkyrie there. If you fight her, you get a trophy. But the main reason to go there is to do these trials. Now there's a trophy called Trials by Fire, which is to complete all the trials of Muspelheim. This is pretty much the same as the previous game, where you have to go up to this giant sword and basically have to complete waves of enemies with like certain objectives. And there are 15 of these challenges, and if you complete all 15, well, you get a trophy, Trial by Fire. Now I didn't complete all the 15 challenges, and I also did not fight this Valkyrie because I felt like I was very underpowered. I did try to fight the Valkyrie. I think her name is Gunnar, the queen of the Valkyries, and she is quite tough. She is very challenging, so I was very underpowered. And also when it came to the trials, I also felt like I was underpowered, so I actually left Muspelheim halfway through, and I ended up going to Niflheim. Now Niflheim was actually a smaller realm, and it did feature in the previous game, but because it's thermal winter, the whole area is pretty much covered in snow, so it's all ice. So it looks pretty much different compared to the previous game. And this realm only had one side quest, and this side quest only opens up at the end of the game, and there was a few collectibles here and there, but ultimately it was a small location. And speaking of a small location, it's now time to move to a pretty large location in the game, which is called Vanaheim. So Vanaheim is one of the largest realms in the game, if not the largest realm in the game, where it has these jungle areas where it's pretty huge and very complex with the paths, and can make you very lost. And there's also another area in Vanaheim called the crater, which is a pretty much open area, I guess. And the first time you make your way to that location, it's pretty much very overwhelming. And because this place was large and it had a lot of these side quests and stuff like that, I did trigger a few trophies. And the first trophy I did manage to trigger was called Full Belly, which is to obtain all the Eden apples and all the Warns of Blood mead. So not long after I managed to trigger that trophy, I found a jewel of Yggdrasil, and with this resource I could upgrade the amulet of Yggdrasil, and if you upgrade all 9 pieces of the amulet of Yggdrasil, you get a trophy called How's It Going? As I was making my way out of Vanaheim, I completed a few quests involving dragons, and if you kill all dragons you get a trophy called Evasive Species. So when you kill dragons in this game you get resources like a dragon claw or dragon teeth, stuff like that, and you need these resources to create the dragon armor set, because if you craft the dragon armor set you get a trophy called the Dragon Slayer. After I got my dragon armor, I didn't actually wear it, I thought it was kinda ugly to be honest, but after I managed to get the armor, I managed to complete another side quest called the Stags of the Four Seasons. There are 4 of these like deer kind of mystical creatures I guess, and they all scattered throughout Vanaheim. There's only 4 of them, and I managed to find the final one and got trophy trigger. Once I completed all the objectives in Vanaheim, I made my way to a blacksmith just so I can obtain a trophy which I didn't realize was a trophy, which is called Ready for Commitment, which is to fully upgrade 1 armor set. Once I crafted my armor, I went back to Muspelheim, where I went back to complete all the trials of Muspelheim. Yes. Oh, that's like old school God of War right there. Classic. Come here, give me your ball. Crush your ball. There we go. It was fun.
Congrats! We've gotten all the unique rewards old Surtur had to offer.
The steel yields to you.
And then I also challenged myself to fight Gnar, which I think that's her name. Once I completed that, I got a trophy called the True Queen. Come on, I almost did. There we go. Yes, you failed. And I win. Yeah, I definitely can't show that cutscene. But man, the Valkyries are so cool. Their design, the fights, everything is just, they're so much fun. So making my way back to Midgard, this is the final round which I needed to obtain the final few collectibles, and this is where everything started to tie in I guess, because now that all the other rounds was completed, Alfheim I didn't mention because Alfheim, all the objectives I already completed through the course of the story, and with Asgard, I don't want to spoil what Asgard looks like in a YouTube video, so I don't want to rob you from that experience. So here we are in the final realm, Midgard. This is where majority of my trophies started to trigger, like this trophy for example called the Librarian, which is to collect all the books. And this trophy which is called the Curator, which is to collect all the artifacts.
Ceremonial.
And there was also a trophy called Grave Mistake. And this trophy is essentially like the secret bosses in this game. Bosses are essentially like the Valkyries from the previous game. Now, if you fight all of these secret 12 bosses, you end up fighting the king. But if you fight this guy, he's quite challenging, kind of tedious to be honest. And if you kill the king, you get a trophy. It's pretty much identical to the Valkyries from the previous game. I think the Valkyries were better as bosses to be honest. Oh, that hit me? Look how far I am from him. This is the one. Oh. This is it. Almost reach. Oh my word. Oh. Come on, man. Oh. Please, just die. I hate when they keep running away. It's so annoying. Oof. Oh no! Please! Yes! Oh, got it! Woo! I'm the god of... Oh! I'm the god of... Oh! Oh! Like that.
Thank you, brother. Still not sure if that was justice or vengeance.
So once everything was done and I killed all the side bosses, there was only one trophy which I was very disappointed because I actually planned it out to make sure that the battle with this king was supposed to be my final trophy, so that trophy could be the platinum trophy as well, but it wasn't because collect the trophy, which is the last one, which is to collect all the relics. And the reason why I actually made this mistake is because I actually thought this king was going to drop a relic. He didn't, unfortunately, so I actually had to make my way back to the blacksmith and craft the final relics, which I did not have. And by the time I crafted after the final relics, I managed to trigger the collector trophy and also the platinum trophy for this game. Really rare to have a franchise that's as old as God of War and hold up throughout the years. And there it is, the final trophy. Damn, I'm gonna miss this game. It was fun. So there we go, God of War Ragnarok is finished and completed. Maybe sometime in the future I will go back to every single God of War game and platinum every single one of them. But for now, that is it. That is the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.